Hello, my friends. Today we're learning Baba Basra, Daf Tzadi Gimel. So we're in the middle of a sugya. There's a machlokes Rav and Shmuel. Rav holds that by mominis you go after Roiv, and Shmuel says not. So the case where they argue about is about someone, Reuven sold an ox to Shimon, and we find out after he sold it that this ox goes. So Rav says it's a mekach tos because Shimon says I bought it for plowing, not for shechting, and I don't want a goring ox. And Shmuel says no. The seller could say I sold it to you to shecht, even though the roy people buy it for plowing. That's a machlokes, and the Gemara is going back and forwards to bring raya. Says the Gemara Daf Tzadi Gimel Amud Aleph, a line down. Toshma shorish nogach sapara v'nimtza ubra betzido. Ox gored the cow, and the cow died, and also the baby next to it is also dead. Ve'enu yadua, and we don't know im ad shelo nok chayoldo. Did the baby born before the goring, and it's nothing to do with the goring, or im misha nok chayoldo, maybe after, because of the goring, this baby died. So it's a suffix. So mishalem chetzi nezek lapara, for the damage that was caused to the cow, you pay half a nezek, because it's talking about that the goring cow ox was a tam, and a tam pays chetzi nezek. V'revia lavlad, and only a quarter for the baby, because it's a suffix, and even if it's for sure, it's only half nezek, so you pay a quarter. Ask the Gemara, v'amai leima olach achar roiv poris. Let's go after roiv cows. V'roiv poris misabris v'yoldos. Most cows have a baby, get pregnant, and have a baby, no problem. So if this cow, it's keneged the roiv, so it must be because of the goring that happened. And since we don't say that, we could see it's a raya that ein olchi b'momen achar roiv. It's a raya to Shmuel. And it for sure happened because of the goring. Says the Gemara, no. Also, mishum de misapkilon, because we have a suffix. The ikalemeima, we could say mikama osa. When the ox came to gore the cow, it came in front of the cow, in front of him, of her. Umibiusa, from the fear of the ox going to gore the cow ipilo lost the baby before the goring happened, and that's only a groma. You don't have to pay on that. The ikalemeima, and you could say machar osa. Maybe the goring ox came from behind and the cow never saw it before. And he gored the cow, and only afterwards it lost the baby. And therefore, it's a moment that we are sophic about. We call moment amuta b'sofik cholkim 50-50. And since nezek sholem would be in this case chetzi nezek, if it's a tam, so since it's a sophic, you only pay revia nezek. It says more lema ketanoi lecher. This machlokes Rav and Shmuel, the machlokes tanoi. It says shoyshoy roye. An ox that was eating food, walking around, and we found a dead ox next to him. Even though that the dead cow, the dead ox, we could see marks that it's been gored, and the one that's alive, we know that he's a more to go. Even though if the one that's dead is bitten, and the one that's alive, we know he's more to bite. We don't assume there was a live one that gored him or bitten him, because we don't have any eidim that happened. Even though there is more, we don't assume so. Rav Acha says, a camel that's mating, and we found a dead camel next to it, and we know when camels mate they fight. We assume that this camel killed the dead camel, and he needs to pay the damage. So the Bnei Yeshiva who fought to say that the machlokes Rav and Shmuel is toila on this machlokes Tanoim, they fought to say the ruba, roy, the chazaka, and a chazaka over here that this cow is a mord, or this cow, we know that a camel when he mates, he fights with the other camels, with the other male camels. That's called a chazaka. So we could assume that that camel or that ox, ki adodinu, it's the same. Roiv and chazaka are the same. Seleim Rav who says that by moment we go after Roiv, Doma Krav Acha, that we assume that like a chazaka, we assume that this camel is this ox. V'Shmuel who says that you don't go by moment acha Roiv, Doma Ketanekama, we don't assume that it's this ox who killed the other ox. Says the Gemara, no. Rav. Rav will tell you, Anod Amra Filu Tanakama. I could also fit with Tanakama. Ad Kanoi Kama Tanakama Hosom. The whole reason why Tanakama says we don't assume it's this ox who killed the ox. Eladulas Lin Bossa Chazaka, because you don't go after Chazaka. Our Bossa Ruba is Linon, but Ruba is stronger than Chazaka. And Tanakama will admit to me that by Roiv you do go after Roiv. Vishmuel Omalecho, Anod Amra Filu Ravacha. I could also fit in if you're Ravacha. Ad can we come Ravacha Hosamelo does in Bossa Chazaka. Do Gufoi Muchzak, this cow that's alive, this ox that is alive, this camel that's alive, he's Muchzak, that's him, and he's over here. So we assume it's him. But when we're going out of, we don't know, we don't have a Chazaka that this is the animal that caused the damage, it's just a roiv that probably this is a Alpi roiv, but it's not standing in front of us. In that case, no. Even Ravacha will admit that we don't go after Roiv by Mominis. So it's not Toila, the Machloikis Rav Shmuel, and the Machloikis Ravacha and Tanakama. Said the Gemara, Toshma from our Mishnah, and that's why the Sugya comes in over here. Amoiche Peres Lechavere V'Zoran V'Lo Tzimchu. Someone sold fruit to his friend and he planted them, the seeds, and they never grew. V'afilu zera pishton, even if it's flax, that normally is most people buy it for planting, Eino Chai B'Charusom, the seller doesn't have to pay back for the damage that didn't grow. Why does it say afilu? Lav afilu zera pishton, even though that's flax, the rubal is real, that most of it is, most people buy it, or most of the quantity of flax is bought for planting, lizria zabni, for planting, vafilu ochi, even though loy, as linan basa ruba, l'chura, clear raya to Shmuel. Because if you'd go after Roiv, you'd say Roiv people buy flax for planting. So therefore, the flax that I bought was for planting. And it didn't grow, so I bought bad flax, you should pay me back. Why do we not say that? Why do we assume that we say no? Because some people buy it for other stuff, so the seller could say, I sold it to you for other stuff. So we could see that by Mominis you don't go after Roiv, a Raya to Shmuel, a Kasha on Rav. Said the Gemara, Tanoihi. Yeah, really, to answer this Kasha on Rav, we say that Enochanami, it's a Machloikis Tanoim. Do we go after by Mominis after Roiv or not? The Tanya we learned in the Braisa, Amoiche Peres Lechavere V'Zoron. The Rashbam is not going to this part. V'Loi Tzomchu. He starts from here. Ziroi Negino, someone who sold to his friend seeds for the garden. She'ene Echolim, that there's nothing to, you can't use them for eating. It's only meant for planting, and they never grew. Chai B'Achriusom, he has to pay for back for what he paid him for the seeds, because he didn't grow, didn't sell him good seeds. Zera pishton, if it's flax, you don't need to pay because there's a roiv. So l'chora Tanakama holds that that you don't go after roiv if it's something that's only meant for planting. So for sure you have to pay back. But zera pishton, because some people buy it, a miut buy it for medical reasons and not for planting. So therefore, we don't go after the roiv, and therefore you don't have to chai b'acharusam. The Tanakama is like Shmuel. Rabbi Yossi says, "Noisen that's at the Gimel Omud Beis. Noisen loid meizera." That even by pishton you need to give the price that he paid for the seeds. Why? Because he holds like Rav, you go after Roiv, and since Roiv of flax are bought in the world, the flax seeds are bought in the world, are bought for planting, so therefore you could say I bought it for planting and it didn't grow, therefore pay me back. He argues on Tanakamor. Amruloi, this is the third shitta. The third shitta holds that you don't go after Roiv of what flax is used for, you go after Roiv of people, Roiv buyers. And since, very good, one guy buys 10 ton of flax seeds to plant, but there's another 100 people who buy every time 20 grams for medical reasons or for other uses. So since when we look at the buyers, there's no roiv buying it for planting, so the seller could say, no, I bought it, I sold it for you for other things. Even though, so said the Gemara man Tanoi. We said that Machloikes Rav Shmuel is Toile and Tanoi. Who are these Tanoi? Ilem Rabbi Yossi v'Amruloi, the second shitta of Rabbi Yossi, and Amruloi, the third shitta. Tavari Basaruba. They both go after Roiv like Rav. But Maroz the Basaruba the Inchi. The Amruloi go after the most people, and therefore a lot of people don't buy flax for planting. And Rabbi Yossi goes after what most flax is bought for zrua, and therefore you do go after it, and therefore you have to pay. So that's not the machlokes. You both hold of Rav. So the Gemara Elo itane kama Rabbi Yossi itane kama v'armuloi. Shmuel holds like Tanakama, and Rav holds all like Rabbi Yossi, all like Armuloi, because those both two shittas go after Roiv by Mominis. So we come to a maskana of the sugya that the machlokes Rav and Shmuel, do we go by Mominis after Roiv or not? There's a machlokes Tanoim. Tonu Rabbanon, Mau Noisim Loi. What happens if you bought garden seeds to plant and did nothing grew? So what does he need to pay him back? The Meizera? The price of the seeds, and not all the expenses that cost him, the workers to plant these seeds, etc. And some people argue and say that even though it's all, you need to pay not only the seeds, also all what it cost him to invest, to plow his field, etc. Man Yeshomim, who is the shit of Yeshomim? Omer of Chisda Reb Shimon Gamliel. It's Reb Shimon Gamliel. So the Gemara, Reb Shimon Gamliel, where do we see that Reb Shimon Gamliel says such a thing? Ilema Reb Shimon Gamliel de masnisin of our Mishnah that nana moiche peretz chaver of azorim v'loy tzomchu v'afilu zar pishur ein chai b'achar yuson. And name a sefer Reb Shimon Gamliel oime v'roi negino she'inim necholim chai b'achar yuson. And it sounds like that they're arguing that Reb Shimon Gamliel says that by things that are not planted, you have to pay, that you only meant for planting, you have to pay the achrayas if they don't grow. Tanakama nami ochikoma. Tanakama never said otherwise. Tanakama spoke about fruit, apples, or pishton, that some people use it not for planting. But Tanakama agrees when it comes for something that's only used for planting. So, Tanakama nami ochikoma. There are pishton udein chai barachuyusom, or ziroi negino shenu cholim chai barachuyusom. Elo lave mas biyoitzoi kibenayu. The argument between Tanakama and Reb Shimon Gamliel is, do you have to pay only for the seeds, or also for the investment that you put to plant the seeds? Marasova Meizera. One of them, Tanakama, hold only the seeds. Marasova and Reb Shimon Gamliel holds afoitzah. So that's Reb Shimon Gamliel in our Mishnah saying they adding on to Tanakama, they have to pay not only the seeds, also the itzah. So the Gemara Mimai, how do you know this? Dilma Ipcha, maybe it's Tanakama, we don't know. We know they're arguing, we don't know who's saying what. So maybe Tanakama says you have to pay also for the Yitzhak. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says only the Dmei Zera. So how do we see that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is the one who says the Yitzhak? Says the Gemara Holoi Kasha, that's not Kasha. Call Tana Basra, whenever we have a Tana later on who comes, Litfuyi Milsakos, he's coming to add on. So if it's coming to add on, it must be Tanakama said he only paid Meizera, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is coming and say, no, not only Meizera, also Itzor. So this is Rabbi Shimon Gamliel who says that you have to pay the Itzor. Says the Gemara, no, V'dilma kulam Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Maybe the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Shimon Gamliel v'chisur mechasr v'ochikton, and this is pshat in the Mishnah. Moiche peretz lechaveiro v'zorim b'loi tzimchu afilu zara pishton ein chai bar chayason. Div Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. This is shittas Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Why is that? Rabbi Shimon Gamliel loima v'roi negino sheinin v'choli chai bar chayason. Maybe there's no machlokes in the Mishnah, and the whole Mishnah is Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and you just have to add on. That's the first part of Paris, and there are Pishton, it's Shittas Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, and then we say, the Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is to say, when do you need to pay for the Zera? That's only by Zeroi Negina, that's the only uses for planting. But something else like Pishton or other fruit, you don't need to pay, and therefore there's no machlokes, and we don't see anyone talking about Itzah. So where did Rav Chisda say that Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is the one who says that you need to pay for the Itzah? Elohar Reb Shimon Gamliel. This is Reb Shimon Gamliel. The Tanya, it says in the Braitza, Amoy lechitin litchoim v'loy losason. Someone took wheat to the person who grinds them, and the person never put them in water first, and he meant to do it. V'asom subim, and he made them into bad flour. Oy murson, it's a different type of bad flour. Kemech lanachtoim, someone gave flour to the baker to make bread. V'ofo, and he baked it pasni poinim, bad bread that falls to pieces. Beimol ataboch, someone gave a cow or animal to the shechter. V'nivlo, and he made it a nevela. Chayev, he needs to pay. B'fneshu k'noise socha, it's like a noise socha. And the Rashbam explains that in Bobikama we explain that it means because he's a noise socha, because he's getting paid. And that's why he's chayev in the achrayas. And Rab Shimon Gamliel not only they needs to pay for the dead animal, for the ruined wheat, for the ruined flour, he also has to pay for the embarrassment of his and the embarrassment of his guest. He invited a bunch of guests. He sent the cow to the shoichet. He hoped to have meat, and now he doesn't have what to feed them. It's a big embarrassment. So also that he has to pay. Continue the Braisa. The big minig, someone who goes to a catering and says, "Can you cook me a meal?" The kilkula, and he ruined it. He has to give him the payment for the embarrassment of his and the embarrassment from his neighbors, of his guests. And continues Rab Shimon Gamliel, that someone who wanted to host people, he would put mappa or a cloth, prusal gabe petach, was laid on the entrance of his house. Kozman shemaso prusa, when the cloth is laid, oruchim nuchnosim, it means please welcome, come eat. Nistalko amapo, when they took you away, in oruchim nuchnosim, the guests don't come in, it means no food left or we're not available now. But we could see that Rab Shimon Gamliel says, not only you have to pay for the damage you cause, you have to pay also for the embarrassment. So we could see also by the zera, you not only have to pay for the zera that you sold me bad zera that doesn't grow, also for the loss I had for investing and planting it. So we could see the shittu, the yesh oimim, would say that you also have to pay. The me'itzah is Rab Shimon Gamliel, and that's a source of Rav Chisda to know that the yesh oimim is Rab Shimon ben Gamliel. Thank you very much. We should all be blessed, and remember, and never have bushes with our oichim, and we should do chazor on this Gemara. Thank you very much.